World War II wasn't just the deadliest war in history, it was the largest mobilization of human armies the world has ever seen. More than 100 million men and women were drawn into uniform across every continent. But which nations fielded the biggest armies? And how did these numbers shape the outcome of the war? Let's break it down, army by army. The Soviet Union bore the brunt of Nazi Germany's invasion. By the end of the war, the Red Army had mobilized more than 34 million men and women, the largest military force in human history at that time. Despite catastrophic losses in 1941 and 1942, the Soviet Union kept replenishing its ranks, eventually turning the tide at Stalingrad and pushing to Berlin. Nazi Germany fielded the second-largest army. Between 1939 and 1945, over 18 million Germans served in the Wehrmacht and Waffen-SS. Early in the war, Germany's highly trained army stunned the world with its blitzkrieg tactics. But as the war dragged on, manpower shortages forced the conscription of teenagers, older men, and even members of the Hitler Youth. The United States entered the war in December 1941 and rapidly expanded its forces. By 1945, more than 16 million Americans had served in uniform. The U.S. Army grew from fewer than 200,000 soldiers before the war to one of the largest and best-equipped forces on Earth, fighting across Europe, North Africa, and the Pacific. China's struggle against Japan began years before World War II officially started. Between the nationalist and communist forces, more than 14 million Chinese soldiers served during the war. Despite outdated equipment and devastating casualties, China tied down much of Japan's army, preventing it from focusing entirely on the Pacific. The British Empire mobilized across the globe. More than 8 to 9 million men and women served, not just from Britain, but also from Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, and Africa. Commonwealth forces fought in every theater of the war, from the deserts of North Africa to the jungles of Burma and the skies over Europe. Imperial Japan mobilized around 6 million soldiers. Though smaller in manpower than its enemies, Japan's forces were highly disciplined and carried out aggressive campaigns across Asia and the Pacific. But as the war dragged on, Japan faced shortages of men and material, resorting to desperate last stands and kamikaze missions. Italy, under Mussolini, mobilized around 4 million soldiers during the war. Italian forces fought alongside Germany in North Africa and the Balkans, but after heavy defeats and growing unrest at home, Italy surrendered in 1943. Many Italian soldiers then switched sides, fighting with the Allies against Germany. Before its 1940 defeat, France had mobilized about 5 million soldiers. Despite being one of the largest armies in Europe, France fell to Germany in just 6 weeks. But Free French forces, under Charles de Gaulle, regrouped and fought alongside the Allies until final victory. Many smaller nations also mobilized significant forces. Poland raised over 1 million troops before its defeat in 1939. Canada fielded 1.1 million, Australia, nearly a million. Even smaller countries, such as Finland, Greece, and Yugoslavia, put large percentages of their populations into uniform, often resisting occupation with fierce determination. When we line these numbers side by side, the scale of World War II becomes staggering. The Soviet Union's Red Army dwarfed all others. But the combined manpower of the Allies, America, Britain, China, and many others, eventually overwhelmed the Axis powers. In total, over 100 million soldiers served worldwide. Behind every number was a human life, a story, and a sacrifice in the deadliest conflict the world has ever seen. If you found this comparison eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more history brought to life. Which army's story do you want us to cover in detail next? Let us know in the comments.